Kabuo Gentil says she was lucky to escape when an armed group attacked her village. The attackers set her house on fire. Her mother died inside.
It was on the 22nd of December. There was heavy gunfire and we ran out and saw houses on fire. Everyone was running away.
Her mother's body was hastily buried here, among their crops. She was one of at least 17 people killed. Everyone we spoke to, here in the village of Boalanda, says the attackers were from an armed group known as Nyatura. Many of its fighters are from the Democratic Republic of Congo's Hutu ethnic group. People who live here say the attackers targeted homes of people from the Nande ethnic group, like this one. And they say if they found people home, they were shot dead. If the home was found empty, it was set on fire. The family that lived in this house survived, but they fled. They haven't been seen since, and the violence didn't end there. 3 days later, on the 25th of December, the nearby town of Nyanzale was attacked. Residents, who are mostly Hutus, told us their stories. This man's wife was killed. This woman hasn't recovered from being shot in the finger. Nima Rosalie says it was the saddest day of her life.
We were preparing to go to church. It was Christmas. We had heavy gunfire and my neighbors were shouting. I escaped through the back door. My mom tried to carry some of our possessions. They shot her and they killed my brother with a machete and some arrows.
13 were killed in the attack, all of them Hutus. An armed group of fighters from the Nande ethnic group said it was responsible. Ethnically targeted attacks and revenge attacks in this area against civilians by Hutu and Nande militia have gone on for more than a year. We arranged a meeting with the predominantly Hutu group known as Nyatura. We met the spokesman and a colonel. They said they're not formed on ethnic lines and that the group's been let down by a failed government demobilization program in 2014, and he denied responsibility for the recent attacks.
How can we be accused of killing people in Boalanda? It's the politicians who want to stay in power who are creating this situation, to keep the population ignorant about the real situation in the country.
That politicians are behind the conflicts is something many here say. People believe the armed groups are their proxies. Antoine Benda has documented the killings, but he's optimistic. He told us some people from both ethnic groups hid their neighbours of other ethnicities to protect them during the attacks.
Our mediation efforts without disarmament are a dead end. The United Nations and the government must first get rid of foreign armed groups, then the problem of local armed groups can be resolved.
A political crisis in the capital Kinshasa, about 2,000 kilometres away, hasn't helped. Elections due last year have been postponed. The government says it lacks the resources. The fighting over control of some parts of Congo and its wealth of mineral resources has dragged on for more than 2 decades. And it's always the people here in the east who suffer the worst of the violence. Malcolm Webb, Al Jazeera, near Nyanzale in the Democratic Republic of Congo.